I'm gonna love you.
Hey everyone, welcome to Coffee with Brian. I hope this video is a little better. I'm actually using a better camera today. Well, phone. And I got my coffee. Today I'm going to do another tips and tricks spray paint. I was going to do this outside where, you know, I could actually physically use the spray paint and show you exactly step by step how to do some of this stuff. Unfortunately, it's snowing out. There's ice out. It's about 30 degrees out. So, and I don't have any heat in my garage other than a kerosene heater and ventilation source. Anyway, I can't do it. So what I've decided to do, I brought in some of the actual things I use when I do my spray paintings, and I'm going to show you exactly what they are. I'm going to use actual paintings that I've done and show you the effect on there, and then show you how I did it, and then hopefully it'll help you somewhat. Alright, so first off, I'm going to get started with the actual spray paint I use. Now I do use other brands, but this is the main one I use. Let me get them here. I use Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra. Okay, and you want gloss. If you're going to be doing spray paint art, you want the gloss. And of course, I've got the clear. The clear is what you cover your painting with after you're done. This is also what you use. Let me show you. On this part here, if you see on this painting, this texture down here, when you apply the color down, if it starts to dry on you, use some of this, spray over that, and then when you apply your paper, wrinkle your paper a little bit and apply it, it'll lift the paint off. The paint will become more malleable with this right here. So this does with spray paint the same thing water does with acrylic paint. It makes it workable again. So, and like I said, when you're done, this is what you're going to use to cover and protect your painting. And then, like I said, you want, now this is also what I use when you see me do the flames in my painting, my spray paint pieces. This is what I'm using. That's the paint I use. Like I said, Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra. You can pick it up on Amazon, you can pick it up at Walmart, you can pick it up at, I believe you can get a Home Depot, pretty much anywhere. You can get Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra. I know a lot of spray paint artists use Krylon. I personally don't use Krylon, but Krylon's fine. Just make sure it's gloss. Walmart brand does not have as bold of colors, but you know, the black and the white is okay to use. The colors are a bit iffy. I have the colors, but you're not going to see me use them very often. I tend to mainly use those if I'm doing like an abstract spray paint piece or something. If I'm doing like what's behind me, which by the way, that's my newest spray paint piece. You'll see the video up. Actually, yeah, you'll see the video later. Next week. I get confused what day I'm on. So, but anyway, that's the newest one. Alright, let's move on. Now, let's talk about how to make the planets. Now, like this right here. How to make this. Alright, now, you're going to put down any colors you want. You know, like with this one here, I've used pink, purple, and white. The white is to add a little highlight to it. Now, that's for a single planet. Give me just a second. Not really as prepared as I should be here. Alright, now, this is one I've done with the Earth and the Moon. And as you can see, I've put a highlight source here and a shadow source here. Same thing with the Earth. Shadow source, highlight source around here. Now, but then again, I've got blue and white. I should have put some green in here, but I didn't do it. And then on the Moon, just black and white. And it gives you some gray tones. But, so like I said, when you're doing like space, you want to be conscious of where your light source is. You know, like in this one, my light source would be coming from in here somewhere, because I've got the white here and the white here. And then I've got shadow opposite the light source, and I've got shadow opposite the light source here. But on these here, I don't do a shadow on a light source because it's more like you're directly looking at it. So you'll not see me put a light source on these. But now what you use to do these are these right here. Now, you can use multiple different ones. Now like this one here is actually a tin, like candy came in, crackers come in, popcorn come in. And I took some duct tape, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see, yeah, I put it down, then I made a little loop here, and then I put the rest down here. That gives me a little handle. Now you can also use cooking lids if this lid is outward. A lot of these it'll be inward, and it's hard to get your spray up under there. And as long as this lip is not too thick. But this is a cooking lid. As you can tell, it already comes with a handle. You can also use, this is a lid from a spray paint can. Makes perfect for that size planet. And you just pick it up off there. I've also got shot glasses I use for smaller planets. Again, make sure that your rim's not too thick here. And when you're doing planets, after you put your texture down, after you put your paint down, you do your paper, your texture, whether you're smearing, lifting paint, whatever you're doing, you want to make sure to dry before you put your lid on, or whatever you're going to use to make the planet. You want to make sure that paint is relatively dry. Doesn't have to be perfectly dry, but you want it pretty close. So, like you'll see in my videos, I'll use fire, seal it real quick. Or in the videos where I don't use fire, what you're not seeing is that I'll cut the video there, I'll use my hair dryer, I'll dry it real quick, and then I'll cut back in, turn the video back on, and I'll put the lid on. And that's where I pick up at. Now once you put your lid on, then you spray around, like in this one. Then you spray around with the black or whatever color you want to make your space. And then of course, for these stars, all that is simply you're spraying a little bit of white on your finger and you're flicking it. You don't want to be real close to it or you're going to get great big old blobs of white. You want to be, I do it about 2 feet from there, about this far, and I flick like this and try it. It's just trial and error. You got to get used to it where the direction of your flick's going to go. But the farther away you are, the smaller and more realistic your stars will become. So you want to remember that. Some people will put it on like a fan brush and they'll flick the brush over it. Some people will kind of cover the nozzle of the spray paint, spray, and just dribble. But my preferred way is spray a little bit on my glove and just flick it. Flick it on there as much as you want. It doesn't matter. All right, now we've talked about that. Now, first off, something I forgot about, we're going to talk about the paper itself. I use heavy stock poster board. I pick it up at Walmart. It's 97 cents a sheet, I want to say, for a 22 by 28 sheet. And then most of the time I cut them in half. So this is a 14 by 22 sheet. Yeah, 14 by 22. All right. Now, when you're doing this, you want to make sure to use the gloss side. This poster board will have a dull side, a matte side, and then this was the gloss side. You always want to do your spray paint art on the gloss side of the poster board. Paper, whatever you're using. You can use canvas. My suggestion and what I do, if you use canvas, you want to pick up some gesso. That's Gesso. It is a white liquid. Well, you can get colored gesso, but for this you want to use white. And put it down, let it dry, and then take some real fine grit sandpaper and you want to sand that gesso down. What this does is it primes your canvas and gets it ready for your spray paint. Now what I'll do usually is before I go do anything, I'll take white spray paint and I'll coat over the top of that gesso. That gives me a glossy finish there for the others to adhere to. So, but you know, some people do it different. Some people do it directly on the canvas, because most canvas are double or triple gessoed before when you buy them. So, you know, it's up to your own, you know. Now, I found without putting additional gesso on and then putting the white on, you will get some absorption into the canvas itself, and it will dull your colors a little bit, but you know, it's up to your own interpretation and your own taste. All right, now we'll talk about our sponge here. If you see on this here, when I make the trees here, this is what I'm using. These leaves right here and this foliage down here, I tear off a piece of this right here, and you'll see there's a bunch of holes in there, cavities. Well, all I'm doing is I'll tear a piece of that off, I'll spray some paint out on either a piece of cardboard. Me, I just do it on my table. It dries, I'll spray right over top of it, and I'll dab this into the paint, and then I'll come up here and just dab it. Now, if you're using something like this, you want to try not to do the same direction. You want to kind of alternate it as you're doing it to make the leaves look more realistic. And then also remember your light source. Here's my light source. So I use more purple over here as a shadow, and then over here I went with the brighter pink. This is my light source over here. So I went with a base of purple all the way around, and then I went back in with the lighter pink, and I did my light source over here with sponge. But that's how I make them. Now, if you're doing evergreen trees, well, I didn't bring one with me. I use a fan brush. Well, let me show you real quick. I've got a ton of them in here. This is a fan brush, and I don't have any evergreen trees on here, but if you were to do an evergreen tree, you start like this and just get it up, get your trunk first, and then I use the edge like this here and just go back and forth, and as you're going down, expand it out. You want it small at the top and then expand it out as you go down to the trunk, and that gives you your evergreen tree, pine tree, whatever you want to call it. All right, now, since I got it here, let's talk about the unicorn. In doing spray paint art, you're going to do a lot of stencils, depending on how much you do it. Well, actually, this one here, Hammerhead Sharks, stencils. Turned out pretty good, didn't it, folks? So, and you're going to do that one of two ways, and I'm going to show you. This is my book of stencils. When I cut out a stencil, I put them in here. You can see Joker. Then I've got a deer. Got my airborne wings there. Got a cat. This one is another Joker. You can't really see it very good. And then we've got a cowboy. We've got cactus that went with that cowboy. Over here's wolves. You can't see them very good. And here's the unicorn. This is stencil I used. You can see what it is cut out. But this is stencil I used for that painting. And then over here, this was the Hammerhead Sharks that I used. And as you can see, there's a Batman that I'm going to be doing here before long. And I think that's it. I've got some others outside. But that's what I do. Now, at one time, I cut those puppies out with this daggum thing. Stupid X-Acto knife. And I'm going to tell you, I got carpal tunnel on both my hands. That was not enjoyable. It took it. And I'm going to tell you, the Game of Thrones, House Targaryen, however you say it, the dragon, 3 dragons, that took me, man, pretty much all day. Because I had to quit, come back. Man, it just tore my hands up. Well, now I got a new toy. The Silhouette Cameo 3 that my family bought, all chipped in, bought me for Christmas. They ain't cheap. That's about $300. But let me tell you, this thing, those Hammerhead Sharks, that unicorn, all that, I put that in this program. I trace it out in the program. I send it to the machine, and it cuts my poster board like I like. You know, I don't use that flimsy vinyl or flimsy paper. This heavy stock poster board I'm sending over there. It's thick, and I always make sure I do it on the glossy side up so I don't get a lot of bleed through to the underside, because that can be a problem with paper stencils. But this machine cuts it out just like that, Jack. I don't have to worry about it. I do it, send it over, no more of this doing whatever, and I take their little spatula and I get it off sticky board, and voila, it's done, Jack. So there you go. Now I'll still have to cut out if there's one I really want to do and the stencil doesn't have bridges in it. Now by bridges, you that have been doing spray paint art know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're doing a stencil, unless you're doing 2-layer, 3-layer, 4-layer, 5-layer stencil, you know, what have you, your stencil, sometimes you'll see, like, say you have the letter O. Well, it cuts out the outside of the O. Well, if you don't have a bridge going to the inside of the O, well, then you're just going to get a big old zero. You're not going to have the outside and the inside unless there is a small bridge connecting those two. And that's what I'm talking about, bridges. This Cameo, I haven't figured it out yet. There's probably a way to do it where you can go in and physically edit and put bridges in to where it'll cut out. But until I figure that out, if I need some lettering or something like that, I'm still going to have to cut it out by hand, because I need to physically put the bridges in to where my stencil, you know, I'm not having to, on my O, go get another piece and perfectly line that up in there and then put a rock on it. You know, you put a bridge in there and then it keeps it, and you don't have to worry about that. But anyway, you'll figure it out when you get to that point. Now, let's talk about doing the stars up in the sky. These two right here. This old credit card. You ain't get my number off of it. It's expired, so I don't care. You can use either one. You just take this. I haven't done it on here, but set this right there, and then you're going to take your paint and you're going to direct the flow of it, if you can see, and you're going to get kind of close, and you're going to aim it to hit this card, and the overspray is going to hit right here, and you can aim it anywhere you want, but make sure you're up close, because if you're far away, you just got this whole area, and you're going to have to touch up where you do that whole daggum area. That's why a lot of people will use something bigger, like this right here. Which, by the way, this is also, when you see people that do the cityscapes, this is what they're using, something like this. You put your collar down, then you put a collar over top of it, and then you're getting in, you're scraping. This is what you're doing. You're just scraping and dragging, and that creates your buildings. I'll probably do one here for long, so y'all see what I'm talking about. Then you're going to have a palette knife that you're going to need with it. That is what I did. If you can see this detail down in here, that's what I used, this right here. I put the clear coat down, which makes the paint malleable. Then you take your palette knife and you scratch through, and that gives you these highlights, these details. Now, while we're on this, let's talk about these waterfalls, because I've been getting a lot of questions. How to do the waterfalls. Alright. Actually, I'm just going to show you real quick like here. Let's set that down for a minute. Poster board. See this right here? Tear it like that. Fold it over. See this edge right here? That's what you're going to use. Now, we'll just say this is white. Spray it on cardboard. Spray it on your table. Spray it wherever. Take this edge. Drag it through the white, so that you have a small bead of white on top of this edge right here. You want it right here. Now, when I did this, you're going to take that paint and you're going to apply it here. You're going to set your paper down you're going to drag slightly to the right, and then you're going to drag down. As you can see, slightly to the right, then drag down. And the more you drag down, the paint will become less and less, which gives you the effect of falling water. Then you put it in the white again, start a little bit over to the right, drag to the right, drag down. Same thing here, drag to the right, drag down. Now down here, you'll see it comes from both directions. Over here, I drag to the right, drag down. Over here, I drag to the left and drag down. And it'll give you from whatever direction you want. Doesn't matter if it's right or left, but that gives you the illusion of depth and water falling. Now, this right here. Now some people will take this and they'll set it down there and they'll spray their white above this so that they don't get it down here. Most time I don't do that. I just take my white in a little quick short burst down at the bottom here where the water hits the mist of the waterfall. And I did the same thing down here. Short little burst where the water hits and creates the mist. And that really is how you make the waterfall. It's pretty easy. It's not that bad. Just go practice it. You'll have it down in no time pat. Trust me. Alright, now another thing I forgot to tell you about. With your poster board, I told you, gloss side up. Well, you don't want this too. You make your little loops. You're going to tape the board down, okay? Because when you're doing water, you know, you're dragging or you're lifting or anything, you want your paper taped down so it doesn't move on you. If it moves on you, you can mess up your painting, and you don't want that. Alright, another important thing I forgot to tell you about. Right here. I got about 10 boxes of these out in the garage. And this is simply an old latex glove. I have extra large, I got big hands. But that's it. And this is why I spray the white directly on, flick for the stars. Protect my hands. Now, some of them don't use gloves. You know, if you want to sit there and wash your hands in turpentine and then with water and everything else, more power to you. I just assume flip this off, throw it away, done. But you want something, you know, to protect your hands. Because if you don't, you know, you can use kitchen gloves, you can use this, some people use mitts. You know, it's personal preference. I happen to like these latex gloves because you can get a box of 100 for, well, the reason I got 10 boxes because one of my friends I graduated high school with happened to have 10 boxes, and when I asked him how much he wanted for them, he said $2 a box. And don't you know, I jumped all over that. So I got 10 boxes of these puppies sitting out there, 100 in each box, and I ain't got but $2 in each box. So you know, my cheap butt jumped all over that. So anyway, protection for your hands. Alright, now, is there anything else I need to talk about? Oh, yep. Okay. This right here. As you can see where I have the divider between the mountains and the water, that was done with this. Set that up right at the base of those mountains, and then you spray your base colors underneath. This helps. You'll be using this a lot in spray paint art. Trust me. You're going to need that. Alright, now, let's see. Oh, something else I need to talk about. These are actually what I use outside. This one I use for my clouds. This one is one of about 30 out there I use for land formations. Now, I'll tell you on the clouds. As you can see up here, this is how I make my clouds. Right here, stencil. Put that down, spray a little white, turn it a little bit, turn it a little bit, turn it a little bit. Just build layers. Layers upon layers. And that's really how easy it is to create clouds. Now you can even get more in depth. You can put a base color down of, say, a purple or a red if it's a sunset, and then you go back over it with, you know, maybe a pink or a white or something like that to accentuate, to give some highlight to the clouds. You know, I didn't go that much in depth in this. I just use white. And as you can see, it picks up that blue behind it, that spa blue I laid down. But like I said, some people will do the clouds in, like, say, a purple or a red, and then they'll go back and they'll hit those highlights top of the clouds with like a white or a lighter pink or something like that, even an orange, and that'll build layer within the clouds. But that's how easy it is right there. That's all it is. And to make this, there's no set way. Just get, like I did with the waterfall, take a piece of postboard, just rip this out however you want it, and there's your stencil. It's that easy. Same with land formations. This land formation I ripped out what I wanted. It was one of my land formation stencils. And it is that easy, folks. Alright. Did I talk about everything I want to talk about? I think so. I wanted to go more in-depth because, you know I did one tips and tricks with spray paint art before, but I keep getting a lot of times the same question over and over and over, how do you make the waterfalls? I've tried to do it I really wanted to do one outside, and when it warms up, I'm going to do it outside and show you guys step by step how to do the waterfalls. Step by step, how to do trees, how to do foliage, how to do the clouds, how to do skies, planets, how to do these reef formations, how to use your stencils, how far away to be, how to position them, I'm going to show you how to do all of it, like I said, unfortunately today, Mother Nature is like on this bipolar trip where she don't want to create any heat. It's the first day of spring and it's snowing and it's about 32 degrees outside. Go figure. So I think she knows I want to go spray paint, and that's why she's doing it. She's bipolar. She need to quit. Somebody need to go throw a Prozac or something in Mother Nature's mouth. But anyway, I hope that helped y'all somewhat. If you have any other questions, shoot them my way. I'll answer it the best I can. Like I said, when it warms up some more, I'm going to go more in depth and show you with the actual spray paint out in the garage. I'll show you how to make different trees, show you how to make the evergreens, how to make regular trees, and then how to put the leaves on. I'll show you, how I do my water, the waterfalls, the clouds, the sky, the planets. I'll show you everything. We'll just do it step by step by step with actual spray paint. I'll show you how to dry it, how to check it, make sure it's dry, which is another thing. When you do your stencils, make sure that thing is 100% dry before you lay that stencil down. Trust me, I've rushed it before and it wasn't quite dry. It was dry, but not perfectly dry. I put that stencil on there and I sprayed it. When I picked it picked up the paint around, and you don't want that problem, trust me. Make sure your paint underneath is cured really good, really dry before you stick that stencil down, or you're going to have a problem you don't want. Trust me on that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get off here, y'all. Like I said, I hope this helped you. I hope you enjoyed the video. And, like I said, when it warms up, I'll bring you another one. More detailed, where I can actually show you step by step. So yeah, I hope it helped you, and I love y'all. Y'all be good to each other, treat each other good, and I'll be back soon with something else. Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember, click on my goofy little mug down there to subscribe to my channel. Smash that like button to show me some love and support. And leave me comments down below in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about the video, what you'd like to see in the future, or just how your day's been. Doesn't matter. Just leave me a comment. And as always, folks, I love y'all. Thank you for showing your support, and I'll see you again real soon, folks.